Consent agenda, are there any items here that would, a director would like to have removed for further discussion?
Just a couple of things. Number one is just the pagination issue. Well, it's on all items throughout the agenda. They just need to be changed, and Shelley's aware of that. She's making those changes. And then there's a duplicate in the minutes of the last meeting, duplicate statements. And again, the second statement was taken out of the general manager's report. Which is a discussion about this asbestos cement pipes.
Okay. If there aren't any other items to discuss, do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda? In a second?
Second.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Okay. The regular agenda, we'll take just a minute here. 9 and 10, we're going to table until November. We believe that it's probably the cleanest way to handle this, as my resignation is effective tomorrow. And that way, any interested parties can come forward for any issues that they deem necessary to be clarified. So are there any questions or anything to discuss about this? Otherwise, you're going to see it in November.
And I just was gonna confirm that I did receive the letter of resignation from Ron, effective tomorrow, as he stated.
Okay. Okay, number 11. Receive the regular San Jack report, and I see Chris just walked in, so let's
This is brief, but I think he wants to ask you.
Yeah.
Go ahead and skip down to 14.
14, okay.
Pick back up and show.
okay, Brian, you want to cover?
Attorney's report, not much there. We're covering the third special session of the legislature. Don't anticipate there to be anything in that special session that will have a direct impact on our special purpose districts here in the Woodlands. But we'll still monitor to make sure nothing comes out of it, or that the governor doesn't be charged of the special session to add other items for consideration. That's all I have under item 14.
Okay.
Answer questions if you have them.
Any questions for Brian? If not, thank you. Number 15, annual review of policy FIN 10 regarding investment, disbursements of district funds, and adoption of a resolution and amendment policy connected therewith. I think this is a housekeeping item.
That's correct. That's correct. The red line was on the Google Drive. We're just making up language revisions or cleanups, really not substantive to the representations that banks and custodians have to make to us whenever they are pledging collateral for third parties.
Okay.
Nothing material.
Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second? Second. All in favor, aye. Opposed, nay. Pete, you want to do the general manager's report?
Sure, good afternoon. Don't have any action items today. It's gonna be pretty short, but I want to put your attention to a couple articles in the back, one on drought and then on leaks in the region. Also, there were some customer praises. Water week, we're getting a lot of praises on that.
Good.
So the more we can sign up for that, the better. Wanted to point out, we had 4 water line leaks across the Woodlands in the last 30 days. 1 was AC, 3 were PVC. As the soils were dry and constricted during the summer, the rain started coming, it kind of moved and swells, and that's kind of when you see, often see breaks when those changes occur in the seasons. And with that, I'll kick it off to John to cover communications.
Okay.
Excuse me, before we leave, those breaks, those were all Woodlands water lines,
No.
correct? No?
I believe 3 were SGRA and 1 was Woodlands water.
Which one was Woodlands water?
It was the one around, what was it? What was the street? Happened about 10 days ago. I'd have to look up the street. I don't remember the street.
I can get that. Okay, when I saw it in this report, I just assumed they were Woodlands water lines, but, okay, good, thank you.
In SGRA's report on page page 25, Evangelos is ours. Page 25 is a listing of the ones that were SGRA's. 12-inch PVC on Northway. That had broken across the street on Northway in July. It broke across the street now a few weeks ago. And in South Milburn, about 2 weeks ago. That was the AC line, that 16-inch line around the corner.
Good.
And then ours was Evangel Oaks.
John,
So page 51 is your communications report. Last month, we shared some of our observations, what we're seeing from up as far as communications. We talked about then a lot of that stemming from the drought, high water bill. We've seen a continuation of that, especially as we look across social media platforms. Obviously, those sentiments, the lack of information, misinformation, that hasn't solved itself in a month. We continue to see evidence of that. We also see that, especially on social media, a lot of that, the vast majority of that is from areas outside our boundaries, folks with other providers. But we monitor that and we care about that because there's a risk that information, those sentiments. So we have been and we will continue to do more communication rates on surface water, on infrastructure, on understanding your bill. We'll look at some examples of that here in just a second of what we've done in the past month on that. I also want to encourage all directors to please help us push the message out. So please share our material. If you're online, if you have an online network, that's an easy thing to do. Share that with your network, share it with your friends. If you see a specific need for information that we haven't provided to you, let us know, and let us know what you're hearing from residents. That's really important for us. What questions do they have? What concerns do they have? Join us at an in-person event. We have a number still on the docket for the fall. We'll look at that calendar here in just a moment. You're always invited. Just encourage you to come join us there. And then moving on to infrastructure renewal, the communications consultant Holloway, they are at work now. They've had their notice to proceed. We should have a strategic plan in our lap by the end of January, and we will start implementing that plan immediately afterwards. Moving on to 52, just wanted to highlight the upcoming water bill ad on water and sewer rate adjustments that are coming January 1. We are beginning notification on that now. We want folks to have as much notice as possible. We will push that out through multiple outlets from now to January. Heads up on that.
So could I ask a question about that?
Yes.
Statement says that there's been the water and sewer rate adjustment, the first since 2014 offsets, blah, blah, blah. That's not correct because we have increased the wastewater treatment rates. The retail wastewater rate has been increased the last 3 years, I believe, running. So that's not factual.
Okay.
Has it already gone out?
We can change it. You're saying it was, so did we specifically say water?
We said,
Water and.
water and sewer.
We can adjust it.
No, I think we should.
okay. Perfect. I'll get to that. We still have time to adjust that. Gotcha. Okay. So the last thing I want to do is put out false information. All right, let's see. Page 53, you've got some samples of what we're putting out in the Woodlands Community Magazine. Currently, we have an article out on the surface water conversion fee and the GRP. And the upcoming issue, we'll have one on keys to understanding and lowering your Woodlands water bill. And we'll do more direct communication with you, primarily through email, of these major pieces that go out. So to make sure you're seeing it, so in case you get questions, right? Watch for those emails. And then finally, that in-person outreach events calendar on page 54. There is one event that's missing from there. We'll be at Cochran's Crossing Fall Festival this Sunday from 1 to 4. That's at Shadow Bend. You're welcome to join us there, and we may have some more to add to this. And then finally, I wanted to note that Eric had I think a really fantastic piece that he did with the Chamber of Commerce, Between the Trees interview. So that's a video interview that's online. You can find it through their Facebook feed right now. We will push that out as well. But it's 30 minutes, and it's a great encapsulation of we are what we do. Eric touches on a lot of our services and also talks a bit about infrastructure renewal. That's a nice comprehensive piece to pass on to folks. And again, that's on the chamber website and on their Facebook feed, and we will put it out. Thank you.
Any questions for John? Thank you, John. And John, it's good to see that we're getting positive feedback on your outreach and that getting more engagement with our customers. Appreciate it. Okay, we'll back up into item 11, San Jac report, Chris.
It's a long one.
Cool.
Or should be. Item number 11, you'll just notice on the monthly operations report, we're making some small changes like we talked about. We're taking input from the directors and modifying as needed. So you'll see graphs move around, graphs change, tables change. Adding some more information. So if there's anything you'd like to see, or if there's too much of your report you don't want to see, let us know. We can shorten it up. So it's an ongoing process. Hope to wrap it up by February of next year. In the report, you'll also see in the monthly operations report, we added a section. I'll give you the page 1 second. Added on page 25, section called infrastructure maintenance. This is going to be constantly tweaked a little bit, so we don't give you too much information, but these are some of the key items that have occurred in the wholesale system over the past month, or in some cases longer. These are any major pieces of equipment that have been out of service. Some of them, like some of these water lines, they were out one day and fixed the same day. Some of these, like the aeration basins, they've been out since 2012. So we're just putting in here just all the big stuff so y'all can see what routinely breaks and what doesn't. So. We also have in here on page 37, you can see 4 graphs. Those are the aquifer level graphs. That's what we present usually in around March and around this time of year. Fish on the aquifer level, the readings have been taken. So you can see with the drought the last couple of years, you have had a drop in the aquifer levels of everything that does. Nothing to do on that, just presenting. The only other item I have is actually the next agenda item. On the AC water lines, last month, we kind of took a straw poll of each of the MUDs just to see where everybody felt on the AC water line condition assessments. Straw poll showed that majority of the MUDs agreed with moving forward, so there's no action today. We're going to bring back the scope and the proposal and the fee and all that stuff in early 24. I'd imagine somewhere in the February, March timeframe, and seek official vote at the time for what y'all want to do. High level, but any questions on planning?
Any questions for Chris? Thanks, Chris. 13, received the update regarding the status of the Bear Branch, Panther Branch and Research Forest Drainage Improvement Project.
Nothing substantial occurred last month, and so there's no update. There's no one pager, nothing else, no significant funds, no significant progress.
Okay, everything moving along as expected
As expected.
and on schedule. Okay. Okay, thank you. All the trustees report.
I was unable to attend the meeting. Larry attended in my absence.
Okay, Larry.
Other than what's in the packet,
Okay.
no issues that I would have.
Okay.
I did have a question on the write-up on the trustee meeting summary. Let me find my question there. Oh, on page 55. But
Trials versus,
I'm sorry?
trails versus trials.
No, not at all, but you are correct. Can you give us or give me, at least I wasn't there, or all of us that weren't there, give us a summary again of what those 2 trials are and the impact of those.
That's going to be a little bit further than I can. I know you had a good explanation the other day, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I mean, we're not,
How much can we talk? Yeah.
not involved with the litigation from the MUD side, but from the River Authority side, I think what Ed told the trustees was that the case that involved Prime Row and governmental immunity and the rate case, the breach of contract for the rates.
That makes sense, Magnolia.
Correct. That one is going to be heard by the Texas Supreme Court, oral arguments. What page was that on? It had the date.
55.
Okay. And so that's going to be heard by the Texas Supreme Court. The antitrust federal lawsuit that was brought by Quadvest claiming that the River Authority is a monopoly. That is going to be a bench trial as opposed to a jury trial being heard in federal district court beginning January 8th. So these are two separate lawsuits and two different phases of litigation, but that was the update that Ed had provided at the trustee meeting.
And the first one, the Texas Supreme Court is where we're seeking for them to pay everything they owe and pay the rates going forward. The correct rate. Right now they're paying 2016. So if this one is passed and I don't think, can you appeal the Supreme Court?
No, but I think there's other issues there. I think this was about the governmental immunity issue because every single issue with these lawsuits have been contested. You know, they contested venue, declaratory judgment. Now they're contesting the whether or not the city of Conroe has governmental immunity from a lawsuit. And I think the River Authority's position, because they have provisions throughout the agreement that it's a contract for goods and services, which is an exemption from governmental immunity, that governmental immunity was waived by the city of Conroe when they entered into this agreement for goods and services. Therefore, it is an enforceable contract. It was another defense that Conroe was raising to avoid liability. If they could say that they had immunity as a governmental entity from the lawsuit, well, then you don't even get to the merits. So they've got to get through this issue about can the lawsuit even proceed on the merits? Then it's going to go back, I think, to the trial court to still have to deal with the merits. So now there may be different stages on where they are on the merits, but I think this piece here is just as to the governmental immunity issue.
Okay. Any questions?
Any anticipated length on this trial or?
It's usually a day, in front of the court, but how long it takes the court to draft an opinion is at their discretion.
Last time it was 6 to 9 months, if I'm not mistaken, on the expedited one. Oh, it's probably-
How can a private company sue a government entity for, what do you call it? Anyway,
Oh, for you talking about
like this suing.
for antitrust? I have no idea. I'm certainly no antitrust expert. That's a very specified, very specialized area of law. It seemed like a stretch to me when they first filed the lawsuit, being, more of a layman on that area of law, but it seemed a bit unusual to claim that the River Authority that entered into voluntary contracts was somehow a monopoly. But it's going to trial. I think that the River Authority had made an effort to get it dismissed on summary judgment that was denied. So it's going to trial on the merits.
Also, a federal case with a lot more.
Okay. Anything
Thank you.
else? Okay. Then we will move on. No closed session. No need to reconvene. As we said earlier, as far as matters for placement on the future agenda, 9 and 10 will be brought up in November. And before we adjourn, I'd like to go ahead.
And before we do, I'd also like to present this to you on behalf of the board. I wanted to read it real quick. Our sincere thanks and appreciation for exceptional leadership and dedicated service to Montgomery County Municipal Utility District 67 from May of 2002 till October of 2023. It's been a lot of great years of service, and I know the board appreciates it.
Well, thank you. And I too would like to thank my fellow directors. We've been together a long time here, and we've had some ups and downs, but mostly ups, I think. I want to thank our consultants. I want to thank our staff, management, for the wonderful job you've done to support us and keep things on track. Advise us as we needed to keep us out of trouble and to, move things forward. And I first of all got involved with MUD after Allison, personal situation, my house flooded. So, we started working with Jim. And I can't say enough about the professionalism that Jim exemplified at that time, and then certainly all the way through as the general manager. And Pete is picking up right where Jim left off. So I know that our MUD, Woodlands Water, are in good hands going forward, and it's gratifying to see that we're moving forward with the research drainage project that's taken about 20 years to get to this point. But the main thing is that we're getting it done, and hopefully when we have severe events, it will be evident to the residents, especially those that have been impacted in years past, that we've done something for them. So again, thank you all. It's been an honor. It's been a privilege, and I've enjoyed it every minute of every year of this. So thank you again.
Thank you again.
On behalf of the board, I'd just like to express our appreciation to you, Roland. I know in many of these discussions, it's rather difficult at times, but you've always kept an even keel. You've kept your professionalism. And first and foremost, you've always kept residents and the taxpayers' needs foremost in your plans and ideas. So thank you for that. I never had to be concerned about alternative agendas, anything of that nature. You're always upfront and above board. And so for that, I thank you. And I just wish there were more MUDs in North Carolina so you could carry on, but I don't think they have them there.
I'm not sure how they're structured. I'm not sure we get involved in whatever they got going. So, but thank you for your kind words, Paul. Again, thank you all.
I just would like to, you mentioned how you got involved, and I'd like to mention how I got involved on MUD 67. At the time, there was no over age 65 tax exemption and disabled exemption for MUD 67. And I think we were either the only one or one or two that didn't have it. And so that was pointed out to me by one of the residents where I live. And so I said, okay, let's get a petition. And so then I came before this board, and once I laid out the facts, it was the next meeting or two when I wouldn't go away. I kept coming to the meetings. They finally voted to approve the first $10,000 exemption. So now we're up to 30,000. So
Plus 20% residents from Homestead.
amen. That's right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. And we'll be staying adjourned.
Yeah.
And I was opposed